everyone, welcome back to my channel BeYouBoo. My name is Tsnatee, and in this video I'm going to give you the best tips in order for you to present online. Online presentations as a listener can be extremely boring because our attention spans are really short and we can do anything we want while we are looking at those online presentations. So I'm going to give you the tips in order for you to create a presentation for your audience to be impressed and for them to remember your presentation, because that's what you want, right? So let's just dive into these presentation tips. Okay, let's do this. Are we ready? Lights, camera, action! Now, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is camera, lights, and action. Make sure that you're seeing this as your own TV show. Make sure that you look the part and that you are well seen and well heard on the camera. So while you are going to present, make sure that your camera is definitely on eye level, because right now I am seeing a lot of nostrils because people are just putting the camera down there and it's not on eye level, and I'm just, it's not cute. So make sure that it is on eye level and that people are able to see your face. Another thing is that make sure that your audio and your lighting are good. For example, with the lighting, just sit in front of the window so that people can see you well. Let's start with the presentation prep. Make sure that you know your audience. Know what your audience can handle and what they cannot. What they find interesting in order for you to implement that in your presentation, for it to be captivating enough for your audience to continue to listen to your presentation. Now, another thing is to make sure that you have a timekeeper or a chat master. A timekeeper that can just be you or someone that is helping you with this presentation. And the second one is the chat master. Make sure that you have someone that is going to master the chat and is able to at least answer some questions or tell you what the questions are at the end of your presentation, so you have the opportunity to answer those questions during your presentation. Now, the next one is your presentation deck. This is one of the most important ones. Now, there are a lot of people that make their presentations on PowerPoint, but there are also other platforms that you can use like Prezi and Canva. Now, my favorite one is Canva, and I might just create a video on how I really create my decks in order for me to have cohesive and branded content that looks well and that's appealing to the eye of the audience. Because you're doing an online presentation and people's attention spans are really short, make sure that it is short and simple. Keep it as brief as possible. Don't put too many bullet points in your presentation. Make sure that you are saying specifically what you want to say and for your audience to understand it immediately when they read those bullet points on your presentation. Now, another thing is to use interactive slides. A lot of people, when they have some presentation decks, they have tons of those moving words moving from left to right, up and down. Now, let me tell you, you need to have a cohesive presentation deck. So make sure that everything is moving in the same direction, because that is more appealing to the eye. So what I also do is that I make sure that I have a presentation that is also going to be a little bit more interactive with my audience. So you can create a poll on Zoom, or you can use something that I find really cute right now, and that is Kahoot, which is a quiz that you can create online, and it's free for everyone to use. So make sure that you check that one out, because at the end of your presentation, you can tell everyone that if you heard everything well, if you listened to my presentation, you might be able to win something, or you might be able to win this quiz on Kahoot. What you can also do is to add videos in your presentation, and these are the ones that are really going to be captivating. Make sure that you also share your sound while you are sharing your video on your presentation in order for people to really hear the video well. Now, what you can also do is use props, whether that is a whiteboard, Post-its. Make sure that when you are creating the props, that people are able to see these well in order for them to really understand what you're trying to say. So if you are going to use a whiteboard, make sure that you're not with your back towards the audience instead of them being able to see your face. Now, before we start with the presentation, make sure that a day before you have practiced it well and you've checked out whether the technology works. So whether your camera, the lights, the audio, everything is on point in order for you to have a great presentation. So really practice before you do this. Now, let's get to presenting. Let's finally start presenting. Now, what I do is I greet everyone individually in order for them to really know that I see that they're in Zoom or Skype. So I say, hi Tom, thank you for joining. Hey, I see that you're also here, Sandra. Thank you for joining this presentation. Please sit and wait for the other ones to join in order for me to start with this presentation. You know, just announce to them that you are going to start immediately as soon as everyone has joined the platform that you are using. Before you start with your presentation, tell everyone that you are going to record your presentation. Now, why do I record my presentation? Is because you can send out that whole presentation to everyone after you have presented it. And that really helps for people that weren't able to join or for people that just want to go back and watch one slide that you were presenting. Something that is really important is to ask questions. There are different ways that you can ask questions right now. You can direct them specifically to someone, which is my favorite one because I love to put people on the spot. Maybe that's just a horrible side of me, but I really want to check whether they are listening to my presentation. So I say, Tom, what do you think of this topic? Do you like what I just presented? You know, you can ask anything if you direct it specifically to someone. And I'm telling you, that is going to scare everyone in the presentation because they are all going to think that you might ask them a question a few minutes later. Now, another way of asking questions is to not ask too many broad questions. Ask on that specific slides that you are on or on that specific subject that you handled previously. Because if you are going to use your whole presentation, you're going to put a burden on people that they are not going to appreciate. Now, one of the most important ones is to use storytelling. Now, what do I mean with this? This is to really make sure that you are being relatable to your audience. Share why this presentation is important to you. Share why the product or the subject that you are sharing is something that you find extremely important, related to something that can be a little bit emotional or that you know that your audience is going to like. So for example, if you know that your audience is extremely into NASCARs and you have a product that is the best coffee out there, then make sure that you can say, well, while I was watching something on NASCAR or NASCAR competition, I thought about this coffee. When people hear the word NASCAR, instantly their brain is going to want to listen further to what you have to say. So use keywords that are going to wake people up in order for them to want to listen to your presentation. So that is really it with storytelling. Now, another thing is that when you are presenting, make sure that you are going to tell them what you want to tell them in the beginning. Tell them the story, so your body, and tell them what you told them. So make sure that you have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion where you repeat what you have said. Because at the end of that, that is what people are going to remember, the summary. That is extremely important. Now, before you end your presentation, and because someone already timed it for you, you know that you have at least 5 to 10 minutes in order for you to answer some questions. So make sure that you really answer the questions that people have written in the chat or that they've asked directly to you. Now, if you aren't able to answer your questions, just say, I am sorry, but I have no idea what the answer is. Or, okay, you can say, I might not know the answer right now, but I will get back to you via an email. When you end your presentation, thank them for joining your presentation. Thank you for listening, and tell them that you are going to send it out via an email with the deck and with the recording. Now, right now, you've presented and it has gone extremely well, but the people would like to receive the email from you. So when you are going to send out that email, make sure that you have everything in it. If there are questions that you haven't answered, make sure you answer all of those in your email. Now, another thing that you can do is that you can post your presentation on LinkedIn. You might be able to attract more customers or stakeholders that want to invest in you. And that's definitely something that I think that you want, right? So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you got some great tips out of it. I might make part 2 because I have so many other tips that I would like to give to you, but I don't want to bore you with too much information because you know what I said, keep it short and simple. So again, thank you for watching and I will see you in another video. Bye everyone.